Philippines Filipino era. This comes directly after the Bagong Lipunan era and marks a significant change in the nature of the coins made by and or for the Philippines. So we're going to introduce that. Now, for the first year, they tried to introduce the same standard as was being used basically since 1977. There would be a version of the coin that is struck by the BSP mint. And usually you could just tell it would kind of resemble a matte version of the old Franklin mint from 75 and 76. Then there was this kind of a mint set thing, kind of a greenish yellow folding holder, which I don't have here, full of, these are supposed to be uncirculated coins, but as you can see, they're like, it's like a brilliant uncirculated, like a special mint set coin. They kind of correspond to the letter U in the Franklin mint variety, Franklin mint years. These were struck, however, at the London mint, are fairly common. There's also a rather small number of proof sets struck, which of course are beautiful cameo proofs, just like the ones in the Franklin mint were called cameo proof. So here's our 1 centimo in this format. And so on it goes on for all of these. So here's the 5 cent, struck actually at the Philippines mint. Here's the 5 centimo struck at the London mint. Can't always tell unless they're absolutely new, and even then, the safest way is to know where you got them. Except for the proof. Obviously, a proof is very different. Now, with the 10 cent, a curious mistake resulted in a misspelling of the name of the fish that is on the back. So look at the bottom where there, pig, M-E-A, pygmea. The correct spelling on later editions of this, all from the BSP, the Philippines made itself, pygmea, M-E-A, at the bottom. So you see the difference in the way it's spelled. That's what it's supposed to be. So that's kind of interesting. Of course, the London mint never messed that one up, either for their brilliant uncirculated specimen or for their proof specimen. Okay, then there's the 25 centimo. Look at that very beautiful brass specimen. In a moment you'll find out why finding a nice brass 1983 is actually more unusual than you might think, especially one that isn't from this mint set. This one, I mean, it almost looks polished, but it really is just from that green and yellow cardboard mint set thing. Okay, and of course there's the proof set. Look at that. There we go. Beautiful, stunning proof set. Okay. Another similar defect happened again on the 50 cent, where for whatever reason, on some of the ones officially made at the Philippine Mint, the name of the berg, look at that long word, Pithico, and then it has B-H-A-G-A, Baga. Sounds almost like something Hindu or something. Pithico Baga. Jeffreri. Obviously, they had to correct that soon. So this is the far more common one where they had it right. Pithico Faga means it eats Pithicos, whatever Pithicos are. Jeffreri. Okay, so that's the correct spelling. And again, as in the case of the fish and the 10 centimo, the London beautiful stroke got it right from the start. Faga, you can see the Faga a little more easily there. And of course, the beautiful cameo proof from the London Mint also got it right. Okay, then the peso gets a whole new design. Now that has this carabao on the back. Still has Dr. Roselle on the front. Here's the brilliant uncirculated. So you can see these coins have the same people they've had from the beginning. You know, new portrayals, of course, but the same people. Plus the 50 cent. It had, let's go back here for a moment. Marcelo del Pilar, but as you remember, the 50 cent had disappeared during the Bagong Lipunan era. Well, for this area, it reappears. Okay, let's see here. And of course, here's the proof peso. It's a really beautiful coin that way. Now we introduce a denomination that hasn't been seen since the Spanish days. And last time it was a tiny gold coin the size of a dime. And that is the 2 peso. With a coconut tree on the back. And Andres Bonifacio there on the front. So that's kind of a new thing to see. And of course its distinctive shape with 10 sides. Here's the brilliant uncirculated version from the London Mint. And then of course here's the proof. Cameo proof from the London Mint. So, very beautiful coin. There was also a commemorative, and of course there's no circulation version, there's just the uncirculated version from the London Mint. And of course the cameo proof from the London Mint. Not quite so rare as the other cameo proofs actually. But it is made of silver. That was 1983, except for one other thing. There was also a proof set for 1983. And this is how they issued the proof coins. In this nice set that looks like this. And you could kind of open it about yay far and see the back sides of the coins like that. So that's how that all worked. You know, kind of coming up from, what before had been from 75 to 82 had been these Bagong Lipunan things that looked like that, you see. And before that, 75 to 82, and then 74 had been the American one. Now this is not the same one I showed you earlier. You can see this one is not as good as shape, and in particular, this shows what happened to the 5 cent is what happens in these sets almost all the time, and why it is almost impossible to find one. Finally, as I said, the Franklin Mint is still active. This time they had this coin set of all the nations, and here they just provide sample coins of all these denominations here too. So it's easy to find nice high-grade 1983s, except for some unknown reason, the 25, which seems to be always in 1984. So that's what made the 1983 25 centimo so high-grade such a privilege to have. Well, obviously this continues. I don't have the 1 cent for 1984 or 1985. They're just too rare. And even the 5 cent for 1984 is so beat up I can't even be positive that it is a 1984, but I think it is. Anyway, but there's a 10 cent. Now it's all just Pygmaea. And there's the 25 cent. Okay. And the 50 cent. So they stopped with proof sets after the 1 year. It's kind of weird. You have 1 year with American proof set, 8 years with the Franklin Mint proof set, and then just 1 year with a Royal Mint proof set. And then that's the end of proof sets once again. Alright, now 1985, same problem. I don't find the 1 cent anywhere. I'm sure it exists, but I just haven't seen one anywhere at all. But there's the 5 cent, thankfully now on a nice grade. There's a 10 cent. Here's our 25 cent. The brass, though, just tarnishes so easy. Yeah. Here's our 50 cent. Nice to have the denomination back. And there's our peso. There's our 2 peso. This isn't really an official coin, just a coin club put this thing together. I thought it was kind of a neat thing here. Bayanihan Collectors Club. So anyway, they thought they'd make that just to commemorate. So I just kind of throw it in there. All right. Well, one more year. Okay. 1986. Finally, we get to see a 1 centimo. Most of these are really hard to find because, 1 centimo hasn't been useful since about 1970. 5 cent. This one has actually seen some circulation. Okay. 10 cent. Ditto some circulation. And again, it's Pigmaia. It'll always be that way, other than one more exception we can get to the next part. 1986, 25 cent. 1986, 50 cent. There's the Faga. It's always that thereafter. That mistake, Baga mistake never happens again. Here's the peso. Seems to be very difficult to find a high grade 1986 peso. There's the 2 peso. Peso now, they've changed it. Peso. And of course, here's the Reagan 25 peso, Aquino 25 peso, at least the silver one. I'm not going to bring out the gold again. Anyway, but that's as far as I'm going to cover for Flora and Fauna, period. It's kind of interesting now. That makes 3 forms that the 1 cent has taken that had lapu-lapu on it. First in the Filipino era, and then the Bagong Lipunan era, and now even this Flora and Fauna. And all 3 of them, poor lapu-lapu has only been included on aluminum coins. Well, more later.